don't quite know how, but it definitely is. I'm trying to tune it, but I'm not really good with hearing things properly when they come to the pitch. It says in my genes I've got perfect pitch. I'm beginning to think that that's not true. Hello, Ralphingle. I hope that I am warm and dry as well, but I've looked out and it's probably not going to happen because it's very, very wet outside and rainy. And I opened the window and I got blown back inside. It was very cold, it was very noisy. I just wanted some air. And it was too cold. Hello, Philip. Hello, everybody. It is a Sunday. Hello. I'm trying to do. My hair is all over the place. I look like Crystal Tips. I don't even think I've seen Crystal Tips. I just know that Crystal Tips had big hair because it's part of culture now. Even though I don't think I've ever actually seen the show. I think it was before I was born. But I know that she had hair that was very sort of that shape. Like that. So, yeah. Anyway, it's probably a reference to something, wasn't it? Crystal Tips. That doesn't sound. Yeah. Anyway, hello. How are you? It's Sunday. It is cold. It's very windy. There's a storm coming. Isha. It's called Isha. Not like the place, which is spelled differently. Not like the artist, which is spelled differently again. MC Isha is not the storm. Isha the place, the garden place, is not the thing that the storm is named after. I hope I stay safe as well. I was thinking of going somewhere. I haven't been anywhere for ages. I don't think I'm going anywhere for quite a little while. It's very, very cold outside. I went outside earlier, but I only had slipper socks on and I got very wet indeed. And so I had to change my socks. They were odd socks actually, because they were odd socks underneath slipper socks. And I thought, I just got to go out and put some food waste in the food waste bin because it's going to be collected tomorrow. Probably blow over in the night, to be honest. So I just went out to put it in and I was like, oh no, my feet are very wet all the way through to the socks, to the soles of my feet, through 2 layers. I can hear the rain. Now, I've also looked out to see whether I can see stars, and I did see a few stars very high in the sky. I'm thinking what it is. I've worked out what it is, because there's usually no sort of, you know, in the towns and cities, you can't see it because of the light. I was like, well, that's not the case here, because there's just like a wood at the back, and you can't see them out the front because of the street lamps. And then I thought, they've changed the street lamps since I thought about looking before, because they used to be, you know, the soda lamps, and then they had different sort of interim lamps, and now they're very, very blue, sort of white blue lights, and so it's very bright. I think it's drowned out the sky. I'm hoping that's the case, because otherwise all the stars have disappeared, and I don't want that to be so. I was looking at I did see the moon in the daytime. I looked out and the moon was, somebody said, oh, is the moon usually that angle? And they had a crescent moon that was on the bottom rather than on the side. And I was like, maybe. But I looked out and there was half a moon that was on the bottom rather than on the side. And I was like, oh, that is unusual. But then the day after, I looked out in the daytime and the moon was the normal looking moon, but it was in high in the sky. And because there were clouds, it looked like the moon was moving. I was like, that can't be what it is. It must be clouds. And I've got a camera, and then sure enough, the moon wasn't really moving very much at all. It was just the clouds, and it was all clear in the sky, but very bright. And I took a picture, which I couldn't upload because I took it on my camera that I have lost the lead to. I tried to put a lead through into my PC, and it just didn't come through. It didn't recognise digital. So I've bought an SD card reader for my very old refurbished laptop, which is it's not an Acer, it's I don't know, it's one of those ones that's really old, that's really sturdy, that you can drop down a mine shaft and it still stays intact. But it's from like 2003, but they refurbished it, so it's got a good camera, and but it's running out of space. I was pricing other ones and I couldn't really find anything. it's like I couldn't find anything that was free. That was what the thing is. I got some Amazon vouchers this week, but I didn't get enough to get a laptop because obviously that's not going to be, £25 to get a laptop. Not likely, really, it turns out. But yeah. My brother gave me a phone for Christmas. It was his phone that he didn't use anymore, that he didn't want anymore. Why would you be using a laptop down in mine? You wouldn't, but if you're at the top of a mine using it for some reason and you dropped it down the mine or the well and it landed at the bottom, it would still be fine. That's my point. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it. Yes. So that is it. So I haven't got a new laptop. I have got a new phone, but I haven't actually I'm still using my old phone, which is slightly bigger. In fact, I don't know whether the phone that he gave me, which is a new old phone, this one. It's yes, this is a donated phone. Thank you very much, Philip. But my brother gave me one that he was discarding, and I'm not sure it's better or worse. But I haven't tried it yet because I'm like, oh, this one's fine. This one's until it breaks, I'm going to use it. Thank you very much, Philip. Yes, very helpful. But when this goes, then I've got one to go on with, the next one. But by the time, hopefully by the time this one goes, it'll be ages old. I don't know how old the phone is. The thing is, the people that are sort of extravagant with their money that are on contract phones and things, it's like, well, I've got a new phone this year. I toss you my old phone. And it's very kind of them, but I'm like, oh no, because I'm on pay-as-you-go. And the thing is, I used to have a contract, like back in the 1990s even, and I spent loads of money, and I was on everyday 50, so I'd have 50 minutes of free phone calls after 7 o'clock every day, so I wouldn't make any phone calls till then, and then I wouldn't make any phone calls after then because I got a modem. Even back in the day in 1919, that's when it was 1999, back in the day when internet wasn't even broadband, and I think it was like 8 or 15 kilobytes even. It was very, very low quality, but I got a modem, so my first internet was actually through my phone. I mean, modern technology, yeah. And I had I think it was blue phone, and you could get a little thing and it would turn it into a modem. So what I would do is I would wait until after 7 o'clock, and then I would plug it in, and I would go on all the forums and talking things, and I would talk about TV shows and stuff. And they would upload pictures and stuff. And because mine was so slow, they'd go, here's a picture, and I'd be like, it was just like a chat room, only it was like a forum. It was like GeoCity sort of thing, ages back in the day, whatever it was called. It was before GeoCities even, I think. Anyway, it was they'd upload pictures, and I'd be like, and then after the 50 minutes, it was like, I still can't see the picture. I might be seeing, because they'd load them and it would just like, it was weird back in the day. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so that, every time I've had internet, as long as I've had mobile phones. Yeah, pre-electricity, exactly. Exactly, you used to just wind them up. It's like a clockwork phone. It was a clockwork phone. That's when it was. It's like the year 2. That's when I had my first mobile phone, is in the year 2. Before the flood. I think we're going to get another one very soon, if Isha is to be believed. Everyone's like, storm warning for the whole country. That's unusual. Oh, we know apparently 70 to 80 is the highest wind speed in this area, and it's something like 80 to 90 if you're in Scotland and the north. It's like, whoa, that's very. But if you're in England, it's like, nah, don't worry about that. England's fine, untouched as always. Lucky England, buffered by the mountains of all the other home nations. So yeah, that's good. I trying to settle into Wales. It's very windy in London. Is it? Oh, London is very cold. 11 years ago it was snowing, even in London, but it's not snowing here at all. I thought we were going to get snow last week. I was promised snow. I was getting really excited that Wednesday and Thursday it was going to snow. And I was like, hooray! I've got an excuse to stay in my house. And it can snow outside. And I'll go, ha ha, and toasty warm with all my blankets. I've got a blanket. Look at my blanket. My Edinburgh woolen wool blanket. And I was going to get awesome. I was going to be like, yes! Hooray, because I wasn't very well this week, so I was like, that's a good excuse to stay in anyway. But being unwell was a good enough excuse. So I'm feeling a bit better now, which is good. I don't know whether it was a cold or something. It was just nasty cold. I think it was a cold, which I caught from probably my nephew who came to visit the week before. Nobody else in the house has got it, so that's good. So it's just me. I haven't been anywhere else to get it, so that must be it. But I'm fine now. It's all good. So, if I stay in long enough, then I won't get any more colds. But I'm trying to settle into Wales and see what's going on around. It's like, maybe I'll start an art centre and put all visual art and have all sorts of Whinge, yes, lots of Whinge, and I'll have all sorts of events, and it'll be brilliant. We'll have spoken word, and we'll have comedy and theatre and singing and dancing and jollity and fun. But of course I don't have anywhere to do this, and I don't know anyone in the area, and I don't know what's going on. But I think I've contacted some people that there might be some things going on. Prod it and make it happen. La, 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 la. I know that in Cardiff there's things going on, especially in the Doctor Who sorts of ways, and they've got a new companion apparently, even though the new companion has only just started. This is it. I heard that they're already onto the second series filming, even though they haven't shown it. It's not going to be until May. Sorry, my hair is in my mouth. That's the trouble with having hair everywhere. And but I don't know, because I thought that I'd heard that she was only going to stay for one series when she was announced, and I got the impression, maybe I was reading between the lines, that there was going to be another one quite soon, like sort of an overlap maybe. So I got that impression, and now everyone was like shocked, like, oh, she's only staying for one season. But yes, it is good dietary fibre, yes, like chewing gum. Used to be some of my best material, chewing gum and eating it and stuff. Anyway, we won't go there. But hair, like owls eat hair and stuff, don't they? And they cough it up, and that's how they. Oh no! I think I've swallowed some of my own hair. Ew! Maybe I'm an owl. I'm an owl. I am definitely an owl. Are you an owl? Are you a trowel? Buy me a vowel. Yes, with my bowel. Ooh. Yes. Where was I going with that? I haven't been anywhere, basically, because I thought it was going to snow and it didn't snow, but I wasn't feeling very well anyway, so I didn't really have they have feathers, but they eat hair. They don't eat their own hair. Owls don't eat their own hair. Don't get me wrong. They eat voles. Voles have hair. Voles. In the bowls. They are owls. Yeah, owls eat voles. They eat mice. A vole is like a mice, like a mices, like a mouse, only smaller. A vole is tiny. So they're like, a vole, yum. And then they chew it all up, bones and all. And now it all comes out with the hair and everything. Ew. They are not vegans. Owls are not vegan. They're definitely not. Yes, owls. Like in the owl service, Alan Garner, where people hear scratching. Blothwen. It's not Blodwen. It's Blothwen. Anyway, an owl maiden, a white flower owl maiden. I can't remember what the name of her is in the Mabinogion. It's Mabinogi, actually. Mabinogion is the one that's got King Arthur stories added on. Anyway, I can't. But in Alan Garner's The Owl Service, some people from London, kids, move into a house and they can hear scratching in the attic, and then they go up and they find a whole a lovely service, dinner service, like plates and things like that, and they've got this interesting pattern which they trace and they make it into owls, and then there's all sorts of stuff about mystical stuff about Welsh mythology. That's not happened here, but I have heard things in the... don't get me wrong, I've got the attic right above me, and I have heard scratching, and I'm a little bit worried. It's definitely not owls. They're not eating foals. They're not eating fowls. They're not eating moles. I don't think it's owls. It might be rats. There's nothing wrong with that if you're a rat, but if you're me, that's not so gleeful. I do not want the rats in my attic. Yes, Margaret Hamilton. It could be Margaret Hamilton. What? Anyway, floods. What's the thing? Anyway, yes, scratching in the attic, and also because the attic's right above me, and I can hear the rain pitter pattering. It's got Velux windows and stuff, so it's also a bit cold because I've got the stairwell. Look at this, the stairwell there going up into the attic there. So I am a little bit cold in this room. It's so I've put like curtains and things over the stairwell to try and keep it from being cold. And also, if the rats or the owls fly down or pitter patter down, then they can't get through. I think they can probably get through. Not towels, towels for the owls. Through the pieces of cloth. Pieces of cloth. Pieces of cloth. They're not parrots. They're owls. They're not owls. They might be bats. I've got bats in my attic. Can't get rid of the bats. I did spend one summer looking out. It's not summer. Looking out and looking at the bats coming in the outside, and I think they were living in the attic before it got transformed into a little artist studio for my dad. But he doesn't go up there much anymore because it's lots of stairs and it's cold in the winter. And also the light was broken, but that's been fixed now because we had an electrician in this week. Oh yes, I had a switch in the corner that it's sort of a bit wonky. You'd go like that and it would just go wiggle jiggle and then it would crackle. And I was like, I don't really want to use that. So now we've got a new one. But in the olden days, they used to put plugs on the skirting board, and they had skirting boards. And I don't think you're supposed to do that, but he replaced it, and they're still on the skirting board because I think it was too much trouble to put them above it. So I don't know what the benefits of. I don't think whether you. So they're still on the skirting board, which might be a fire hazard. So I have to be careful. But at least they're not crackling, and the switch works. So that's good. That's the good thing about British plugs as well. We've got switches. You can turn them on and you can turn them off. Whereas in America, I think it's just live power all the time. Yeah, live power all the time, which is probably good if you just want to toast your hands on the hotness. I don't know. They're probably not hot, but there are only 2 prongs and there's 3 prongs in a British squirrel in my attic. Oh no! Yes. Squirrels in your attic are not as bad as mice and rats. Not as scary as owls. Not as precious as bats. Squirrels are all that. Squirrels can get in a lot of places. Were they red squirrels or were they grey? Grey mainly. I remember, I'm sure I've seen a red squirrel in the last distance of my life, however old I am, 2,000,005. In the last 2,000,005 years that I've been in existence, I did see a red squirrel when I lived in Stoke Newington, not Stoke Newington. Where was I living? Kilburn, which it was the West Hampstead end of Kilburn. It was that end of Kilburn. It wasn't West Hampstead. It was Kilburn. But it was nearly West Hampstead. It was on the borderline. And there was a little, because the way that the flat was, it backed onto a little area where there was a lot of trees between the houses. And I saw red squirrels there. I was so excited. Now, I'm not sure whether that enclave is still there, but maybe they are. And that's very rare. But red squirrels in this area, there is a wooded forest, a forest behind us. Not a forest, it's a big wood. I don't know when a wood becomes a forest. It's probably not. I think I called it a forest once. It's not a forest, it's a wood. But there's a lot of trees in this wood, so it's very nearly a forest. It covers the whole mountain. It's quite dense and thicketed thick. It's bigger than a little wood, but smaller than a big forest. So it's a forest or a foot. Yeah, and so there's things there, probably ancient beings, because I tell you what, the Appalachian Mountains in America, when the big continent split off, and people are like, well, part of Scotland was part of the Appalachian. Appalachian. Anyway, they were part of that mountain range. Yes, they were. Some of Scotland was, but also this part of Wales where I live, definitely, it's where the coalfields hit the rest of Wales. It's the same bit. It's just a squish, and that's why mountains. So these mountains are ancient, and there are a lot of tales of the fairy folk and the mystical beings, and the pucker is from this area, obviously, and the people that disappear in the fairy rings, and all sorts of weird things. And so the weird things are in the Appalachian Mountains, and the forests of Scotland are also here. So probably years ago, when there was mountains and when there was forests, and when this house is probably on an ancient Indian burial ground. Also, that could explain. I know that Native American people probably didn't, when the Appalachian Mountains split off, then there probably weren't people living in there, so that wouldn't explain anything. I don't know what I'm talking about. No, that's a load of old rubbish, but there might be chupacabras in the forest. I hope not. Oh, it's raining now. Very loud. I can hear that. You probably can't hear the pitter patter of the foresty rain on the windows here. But it's very scary. Ooh, I don't know what to do this week. I'll probably stay in again because of the. I don't know how long the storm's going to last. But there've been people saying, you mustn't go travelling. You mustn't go north of Newcastle. You must stay in. You must keep your pets safe. You must make sure that you don't go anywhere. And that's fine. I'll just stay in. Got everything I need. I've got cheese and crackers and a blanket and lots of torches, because my mother bought torches for people almost every Christmas. Not this year, but most Christmases. One of the stocking fillers is some sort of torch, and a lot of them I'll probably run out, but I've got a wind up torch. So I don't know where that is though. I find the wind up torch so that I can wind it up, and then I can go, yes, I can see in the dark because I've got a wind up torch. Don't need batteries or anything. It's excellent. Yay! So I've got a wind up torch. And I did have loads of tea lights, but I think I left them in London, so I don't have them anymore. But I've got everything else I need, which is a blanket and some crackers. Really? Yum, 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 yum. Like Ritz crackers. I got some gluten-free Shah crackers, which I thought would be good. They look like they would be solid and you could butter them and put toppings on them, but that you touch them and they crumble. But they're also very salty. So I think that they're a sort of knockoff, like a dupe, a gluten-free dupe of saltine crackers that you get in America that you crumble into soup. So I can make some soup and I can crumble my crackers into the soup. Not Christmas crackers, no, not that. It is. They are very, very nice actually. They taste lovely, but you can't really spread any spread on them because it's just like bloop. They've got a little sort of perforation down the middle, so they're that big, and the perforation down the middle, which I thought meant that you could probably crack them in two, so you get two little bits. No, you try breaking them, they just break anywhere but the perforation. So it's for visual I don't know what it's for really, just to con you into thinking that they're going to do that. They're going to crack into two, and actually they just shatter into a billion pieces. Which is a shame. But they are nice, so that's good. So yes, I don't know what I'm doing this week, here's the point. So thank you for joining me here. That was very nice of you, but yeah, the wind, that's mainly the thing today. This week is wind and animals. That's the theme for the week. And yeah. Ooh, and somebody asked me to join a WhatsApp group that's trying to get artists of all the ages to work together to create a network. That's nice. I don't know what age I am. They're like, we want you as a young person. I'm like, yeah, obviously. I mean, to be fair, the other people are like mostly in their 70s and 80s. So comparatively, yes. But I think we might have to drag some actual young people that aren't a billion years old into it to make it more effective. So yes, I'm sort of the bridging the gap between the olds and the youngs, because I'm of the generation that's before generations even existed. Before we did all of this stuff, like, that's it though, right? Because I know there's like generation Alpha, and then before that is generation Z, and then before that is what was Gen Y but is now called millennials, and then before that is X's that everyone forgets about, and then before that is boomers that lasted a very long time, and then before that is my parents' generation, which is like what are they called, don't know, and then before that is another generation, the greatest generation, somebody said, and then before that is the I think it's the silent generation and the greatest generation before that, and then before that they didn't do generations, it's just people, as it should be, because it's rubbish. It doesn't make any difference. Like, you can't like lump people into 20 to 30 year, and it's not the millennials are. It was a really big. It was from like, I remember it was like from like 1978 to like 2005 at one point, and they went, no, we're gonna have a cut-off point. So anyone after 1996 is now Gen X, Gen Z. Which is, I'm like, surely the Gen Zs are little tiny children, but they're all like, no, we're like 25. It's like, but you were millennials until you decided to split yourself off from those and pretend to be a different generation. Because my nephews are Gen Z and they're little tiny children, but now it's like, so the oldest of those is 17, right? And they're definitely Gen Z, solidly so. And yet, grown-up people that are considerably older than them and might just about be millennials, like younger millennials, fair play, but they go, no, I'm Gen Z, and Gen Z think this. It's like, you can't possibly know. You're tiny children. You haven't had time to develop it any yet. It's all rubbish. You made it up. It's all marketing. All completely rubbish. And also, it's very American, so British people are not the same. We had different times, and the boomers were at a different time as well. And also, everybody, when I was a child, all the famous people were born in about 1960, which is apparently boomers. But they're considerably different from the people that came just before them, that were teenagers and grown-ups in the like the 50s and 40s and that. So they're a lot like, I'm thinking about pop stars, like, I don't know, who am I thinking about? Like George Michael-y type people. So George Michael-y type people, not the same, I don't think, as who was I going to say? I don't know, as the people that Cliff Richard. George Michael and Cliff Richard, are they the same generation? I don't know when Cliff Richard was born. Actually, he's probably older than that. When was Cliff Richard born? Is he a boomer? See, that's old. I'm very confused. Forgotten generation. Yes, a forgotten generation. Yes, indeed. Very, very much so. Old people. Just, the thing is, when I left college, there was an immediate recession, and they got rid of all the things that made being a student good and stuff, and there were no jobs and no work and nothing, and nobody could get anything, and I don't know anyone that's earned anywhere near the average salary from my generation, anywhere near. I'm like, oh, I'm sure there must be people, but I mean, I'm considerably after the yuppies and that, and I don't know even what the yuppies, boomers now, because the yuppies were young when a lot of the boomers were already old. So I'm very confused about how they did this thing. It's like yuppies and boomers are apparently the same thing, and also hippies are in the same generation as yuppies, and that doesn't make any fucking sense at all. That doesn't make sense. I shouldn't swear. Fucking forks. I'm talking about forks. Cutlery. That's what I'm talking about, is cutlery. Anyway, so I don't know what generation anyone is, but it's all made up and rubbish anyway. It doesn't make any... I mean, some of the people that are most enlightened and liberally thinking and good people are old people that are in their 80s and 90s now, like Tom Baker's generation. He just turned 90. That is before the boomers. That's a good generation. I like that generation. They're good peoples, yeah, generally, but they get a lot of slack and flack. But they didn't. They're really old people that grew up in poverty, and then were like, they did benefit a little bit from the post-war society, but then it's like, yeah, but we've got rickets from before the war, so whatever. So it's yeah, the people that've got rickets and free education. It's a bit of a mixture of things, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, like my dad grew up in like a tiny mining cottage with damp and all sorts of stuff. Like in the Victorian ages or something. It wasn't the Victorian ages, but it wasn't great. It's just like, that sounds awful. Are you sure? That's like driven. That's the word that my grandmother, who's the generation before the generation before, I don't even know what generation she is. She's so old, she's before generations even began. Again, I say I'm 1,000,002 years old, so that's very, very long ago. Whatever, she used to call them drevens, which might have been a sort of Wenglish word for it's like it's a pokey house that's all dark and damp and like a cave. Anyway, that's what she used to say. This house is like a dreven, she'd say. So I suppose that means like dref is the Welsh word for town. Drefen. It's like a town, this house. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know where she got things. She used to call people whimwhams if they shook around too much and go, oh, you're a whimwham, you're a pissamire, stop moving around. She didn't like people moving around and oh, stop it. She didn't like people moving around and annoying her. So, yeah. Anyway. Whatever. And she used to go, oh, you'll get St. Vitus dance if you keep moving around. She really didn't like me moving around. You're a pissamire, whim-wham with St. Vitus dance. I know of, and she used to absolutely swear that she had a relative that had St. Vitus dance, which is a medieval thing that she definitely did not have. Unless my grandmother is right and that she is from the Middle Ages. And maybe that's why. Maybe time has shifted and her relative really did have. Maybe my grandmother was considerably older than I'd given her credit for. If her relative had St. Vitus dance, which I think the last recorded case of was in like 1492 or something. Anyway, moving on. I will be here next week. I'm going to be recording the Pear-Shaped Dystopia next Saturday, I believe. Yeah, and I think I've got a radio play, somebody's radio play that I'm going to do something in. But mostly, I'm going to just stay in and mope and try to avoid the windy weather and the rain outside. So, stay safe, everyone. I would recommend that everybody stays in and just tries to... And there might not be any electricity. If there's no electricity last week because the infrastructure's gone down because of the floods. I don't know. But hopefully I'll be here. So yes, stay cozy, stay warm, be well, be excellent to each other. See you next week. Bye bye.